Greetings, I'm John the Spirit. Ore processing makes so much stone, and you think there's nothing you can do with it, and then you throw it away, except then you need it, but it's not enough, and welcome to Pyanodon Recap Supershorts. I mean, don't sell it short. It also makes things like ash, and gravel, and probably one of these makes sand, right? But then you have all this stuff, and that means you need to get rid of it. And you could, I guess, put it in a burner, and then burn it all away, and then it's not there anymore. But what if you need that ash? And what if you need that stone and gravel? But here at Spirit and Arch Nonprofit Incorporated, we recycle. And we do it in Byproduct Land. Here in Byproduct Land, our #1 priority is to take byproducts from builds and make them accessible to the rest of the base by taking those byproducts and sending them down to be in chests again for the rest of the base. But on the way, if the final storage containers for byproducts fill up, which they frequently do, we can reprocess those byproducts into other useful things, shunting the buildup down the lane to other parts of Byproduct Land. Now you may be thinking, wow, Jonathan, that is a lot of byproducts still inside their original containers, and you would be right. Byproduct Land is not very well designed, but it has spirit. In order to manage byproducts in our train base at large, we use a second network called B for byproduct, and definitely not because B is the next letter in the alphabet after A. Cybernetic combinators on the B network requests byproducts from all over the base. This clears up the byproducts from builds like the iron build so that those byproducts can't clog up the rest of the build. There's a reason there's almost no gravel in here, despite us having made so much iron, so much. 1,800 projects finished, and 75 iron each. That's order of, 180,000 iron? That's a lot of iron, god. And so it all gets sucked out of the builds that don't need it and brought into the builds that do. Now, different products like stone, gravel, and sand are related to each other, but they're made at different rates from ore processing. So sometimes you might have too much stone and not enough gravel or sand. Whatever shall you do then but to turn the stone that you get that's extra into other useful products like stone bricks or more gravel, using annoyingly complicated systems of priorities meant to handle more than one belt of some of these outputs. We funnel the extra output into things like these 5 stone brick foundries, or these 4 gravel jaw crushers, or this funny little landfill friend, which uses a few bits of soil from these cute soil extractors. While those extra stone bricks have a fun ride down to their little chest, the gravel actually does the same. It joins the main gravel line. And funny enough, we have an input priority on the gravel coming in from stone, and not from the gravel coming in from gravel, which we still don't really know what we should have done because we think this build might be fucked. And our base hasn't run long enough to demonstrate to us how broken it truly is, but it was a good idea, maybe. Really, we just need to be using these products, but anyway, let's keep going. Excess gravel, which we theoretically have a lot of, is turned by 8 jaw crushers into extra sand. With the help of some coke, sand and gravel can work together to make concrete. I actually don't know where are we getting the coke for this? We are not, because we never set this to request instead of provide. Wow, that's... We built a coke requester so that we would be able to deal with the immense amount of gravel and sand that we clearly have here, and then we failed to bring in the coke. Who built this factory? Who? I think this was an Arch job, and he fucked this up. I'm just kidding. I honestly have no idea how this happened, really. Okay, a train with coke is coming now, that's funny. Okay, so it turns out our byproduct system is working. We just completely forgot that there was supposed to be something that uses coke to deal with all of the silly gravel and sand. Imagine. All of these limestone soil extractors, and none of them were ever running because we forgot to supply coke. Anyway, this 800 slot deposit will certainly never fill up with concrete, and if it does, we will just apply it to the whole factory, because that's easy peasy. And it will summarily get rid of all the gravel and sand for us, so I don't think we'll have to worry about gravel and sand again for all that we live. There is a solid chance that we also did not supply any gravel or sand to the concrete automated factory. Who built this? It was probably me. Alright, okay, nobody panic. Let's just take a little bit while I build a prototype for how we would fix this. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. The way I think of it, we have to make sure we get rid of things like gravel and sand, no matter what, when they come into Byproduct Land. We want to turn them into other useful products first, until those useful products are full. So evidently, we need to siphon gravel out of the gravel warehouse at the lowest priority and send it to this concrete builder. We need to do the same thing for sand, but we need to get sand from 2 places. Firstly, if there's only gravel in the Byproduct Land, then we need to use sand from gravel from Byproduct Land. And that sand is this belt right here, which is why I've siphoned off this transport belt right here. But if this sand in Byproduct Land, we need to get rid of it first. So we'll set up an output priority to the left on this sand, and then set up an input priority on the right for this splitter, so it takes the sand from the sand warehouse first, and then from the gravel production system, with the happy effect of making lots of concrete as long as we have coke as well. Wow, it works great. We're already emptying the warehouses. Now the one thing this can't do is get rid of sand when there is no gravel. However, I think we need pure sand often enough that it's probably going to be fine. Now, what would be cleverest of all is if we were to send the sand to our glass build, which, that's a spoiler for like episode 10, but it's fine. Pure sand is used for stuff one day, and I could shove it at our glass build, but I don't want to do it right now. But that's what it's there for. The sand gets turned into pure sand, so the pure sand can be used for other things. Okay, anyway, now that extremely embarrassing hiccup has been repaired, I'm so glad I do these recap videos. Let's move on. Sand can also be turned into pure sand, or if you have excess of it, you can combine it with rich clay, something that you can get from ash, to make stone bricks, and we love stone bricks here. We're big stone brick fans, considering that they're used in planter boxes, which are for science, so having more stone bricks is a good thing. Not that the Byproduct Land has made a significant amount of them, an amount that could ever offset the amount of stone bricks we actually need for science, but shh. We also deal with ash here. Like I said, we turn it into rich clay, but we also just plain separate it. The coal dust we throw away cruelly, and by that I mean because it can't burn in a burner, but it can help burn things in a burner. We send it to a shed. As you can see, there is none yet. I don't know why. Probably because this ash shed isn't yet full of ash that has come from, like, the minimal number of builds that supply ash as a byproduct, because, as it turns out, later in the game, you have no ash anywhere and no idea where to find it. If we did, in fact, ever send ash to the solid separator, the iron oxide would go to this iron oxide tile. Well, first the iron oxide would turn into iron, and then that would turn into pipes, and then you could turn that combined with iron oxide into iron oxide tiles. As a result of the byproduct system, we have no iron oxide tiles. So you can probably tell it's going really well and processing so many byproducts, and our train base is constantly running at full speed after, like, so far of building it. And everything will definitely blow up the moment we build our mall, which is something we are planning to do and have not done as of me recording this episode. We build all those things, and then they don't run, and do we feel bad about it? No. Only a little bit. Anyway, that's Byproduct Land, the most fucked up land known to man. We do plan to make a better Byproduct Land eventually, one that is better and not bad. You see, building this took so much spaghetti. Like, you can imagine the planning that went into this, and all of the decision paralysis, and all of the scratching our heads and having ADHD, and wondering why did we decide to come up with this stupid build. Originally I was doing it on my own, and then I dragged Arch into it, and he was not happy, but he did help. He sure did. Our future plan, and by the way, you can check out me and Arch doing some of these future plans on our Twitch streams every Tuesday in the link in the description. In those future plans, we're going to have a block for each individual product. Stone products will go into their own block, then they'll be processed into stone brick and gravel, and that excess gravel will be prepared to be sent off to the next gravel block, where it will then be processed into gravel stuff. In the gravel block, we'll also turn gravel into sand, probably. But gravel is also used for things like stone wool, for example, so it wouldn't be out of the question to build stone wool in the gravel land. Stone wool gets used for the zippers, and I think some other of the aquatic animals. No, it looks like just zippers right now, but oh well, that's fine. But since nothing in the base is run, we haven't seen a need to improve our byproduct management system, so why would we even think about it? It's okay. Now, there's a couple other Cybersyn shenanigans we should talk about before we wrap up this episode. You'll notice that byproducts are on B network. At least the requesters for byproducts are. And you'll also notice that these deliverers of byproducts are on the A network. The good thing about that is that the byproduct management network will never request gravel from the actual physical network. So this gravel is for builds other than Byproduct Land, and Byproduct Land cannot cannibalize its own objects. However, we also decided to pull a, what is called in the language of my people, cute little trick. Which is that when we send byproducts out from our builds, we put their providers on systems A and B. What this means is that any builds in the world which request ash, gravel, stone, or sand can request them either from here, where they're initially produced, or in Byproduct Land, whereas Byproduct Land only requests its bits from builds that provide them. The likelihood that the rest of the base will ever use the ash, gravel, or sand from builds that are not byproduct land is fairly low, though, because as soon as the byproduct storage systems in builds like this one fill up, the eternally hungry requesters of the byproduct management system will immediately ask for the stone, gravel, or sand. And then they'll be cordoned off in Cybersyn, and no one else will be able to use all of that stone, gravel, sand, or ash. Failsafe in case the byproduct management system proves to be incapable of handling the sheer influx of items sent to it. And we still need to get rid of them, and there are parts of our base requesting those things, which is very unlikely. But it could happen. And we have prepared for that contingency, because we are intelligent. I'm going to go run away now. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. Remember to name Byproduct Land if you have any ideas. They also don't necessarily have to have cool acronyms. If they're just fun, hilarious names, that is totally fine too. Any names will do. We are name inclusionists here. But wait, several days after having recorded this episode, just before I'm about to post it, I'm proud to say that we have come up with a name for the Byproduct Land. And by come up with, I mean viciously stolen from someone who also used it in the Pi Discord server. We are calling it the Byproduct-Associated Liabilities Limiting System, which as an acronym is BALLS. Anyway, as always, if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. I hope you enjoyed. Wait, I forgot to tell you what we're going to do in the next episode. We're going to talk about tar. Okay, bye.